Welcome to The Great Expanse by JohnBeb426 here on YouTube. And it is a glorious Sunday morning. And I'm starting to become myself again. Went through some trying things in the past 2 weeks. And that's actually what's going to lead into the topic of today's video. Not like you didn't read the thumbnail or read the heading. But yeah. So 2 weeks ago, I felt that something was going on in my esophagus and it was a lot of congestion and I was getting headaches out of nowhere. So, I bought the manly tea with drops of lemon juice in it and sprinkling of honey. And it didn't feel like a cold. And then my throat just said bye and went on a trip and sent me postcards about where it'd been. So I said, then I was getting real headaches at work. Then I would come home, and that's why I missed uploading for a few days, a couple of weeks ago, because I would come home and just crash and just be out until I woke up the next morning for work. So the following Tuesday, now this happened on a Thursday. The following Tuesday, I said, you know what, I better get tested. So I did the swab up in my brain cavity, both nostrils. I'm like, yeah. A minute later, the lady came back and said, it's a positive test for COVID-19. So I immediately had to take an Uber home from work, which costs about blankety blank dollars. Because I don't work in the city, but I work outside of the city. So I'm on quarantine, I'm sanitizing everything going on, and it went without a hitch, okay? Thank goodness. Nobody else got sick. I really quarantined. I wasn't going anywhere. I was just up here in my domicile, okay? So when I go back to work, like I said, I have a manual labor job, which pays very well. And it involves a lot of wrist movements, okay? I'm not a wrist masseuse, okay? But, you're kind of handling heavy parcels, so it's a lot of movement. Halfway through the day, my wrists go, yo, man. They leave too. So then they start sending me tweets and Snapchats and TikToks about, hey, wish you were here. So I have to stop working. And my wrist, a couple of the videos you saw, I had like the glove on. Not the Michael Jackson glove, but I had a glove on, I had the wrist taped. So for the whole past week, I haven't been really working because I've just been doing like a parallel job to mine because I didn't have the capacity to do it. And then I had something called crepitus, which is basically crossover tendons in your wrist rubbing together. They're not supposed to do that, and they were inflamed. So these fingers, one video I didn't have this ring on because this finger was swollen. So I'm working with a fisherman's. If you ever see a longshoreman's hook, it's like a handle with a big hook on it. I'm working with that, and there's another hook at my station. So it's kind of, it's a production line. So it's a lot of movement, a lot of volume. So then I accidentally pierced my hand, the center of my palm, with the hook. So then they had to take me up to medical. They had to sanitize it. Then they had to get a tetanus shot. And they say, hey, you may have a fever for a few days. And that was just the last 2 weeks. And slowly my voice is coming back. I'm on the road to recovery, but I said all that to say this. Subscribe to The Great Expanse by JohnBeb426. Like the video, share them. Click the bell for notification, all. So when a new video is dropped, you'll be the second person to know, and I will be the voice. I said all that to say that there is such thing as a healing factor. Now, as soon as I say that, you know who I'm talking about. We humans all have a healing factor. We have antibodies. I really wish mine were as fast as James Logan Howlett's Wolverines. See how I segued that? You thought it was going to be like a sob story or some kind of sappy, mopey, send me money because I'm ailing. Nope, wasn't going to be that. That's not what we do. But this is about the Fantastic Four casting, which is rumored to already be taking place. This is just my take on what I want to see done with the X-Men. X-Men at Marvel's D23. Now there are a lot of rumors. I'm going to read some of the names, okay? According to Marca, M-A-R-C-A, Marvel Studios bombshell report. Denzel Washington, Henry Cavill, and Jodie Comer amongst newcomers for Phase 5. Now, I did a lineup video of Phase 5. Hopefully, they won't be any of the series that I don't want to watch, but I can't be selfish. And if they're in it, obviously, I'm going to have to watch it. All right. Oh, I hate when they have these active video screens on your website and you're reading, and then there's like a box about like a deodorant commercial, a video. I'm like, stop that. Marvel fans will soon have reason to rejoice. Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios, is set to announce a long list of huge additions to Phase 5, including Henry Cavill, John Boyega, Jodie Comer, who I'm not familiar with, Daisy Edgar Jones, who I'm not familiar with, John Krasinski, Giancarlo Esposito. You have something I want. And Denzel Washington. Did you hear those names? Do I even have to go on here? I'm not going to. DC, WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery. You wanted to play games with Henry Cavill as Superman. Now it looks like you'll be losing him to Marvel. So now WBD can officially stand for what a bunch of heads. Sorry, that's who you are. John Boyega. Now these are minority actors mostly. John Boyega, Giancarlo Esposito, and Denzel Washington. And you saw my video about Giancarlo Esposito playing Professor X. Yay. But I'm not big on ethnicity swapping with established characters. I'm just not big on it. Unless it's a great actor. If it's somebody with that kind of gravitas, that's one of my favorite words, I'm all right with it. But let's be honest here. None of the X-Men movies with Fox were completely accurate to the comic books. None of them. The source material for anything X-Men is the comic books and X-Men the animated series. The movies don't touch the cartoon series at all. At all. If you're going to cast an MCU, if you're going to cast the X-Men for the MCU, okay, get great actors and great actresses. But the heart and soul of the X-Men are Scott Summers, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl Phoenix, and Aurora Monroe, Storm. Wolverine is not the heart and soul of the X-Men. He's the most popular character, we understand. But Wolverine is not the leader. He is not the heartbeat of the X-Men. That title should be Scott Summers. Scott Summers needs to be in his proper place as the center of this series of X-Men movies. Come on now. I know you're trying to cash in with Wolverine. Everybody's talking about, who's going to be cast as Wolverine? Okay, yes, we know he's popular. So yes, get a great actor, but put Cyclops in his proper place, Kevin Feige. Wolverine and Cyclops butt heads traditionally, and that has been shown a little bit in the Fox films. But there was never a movie where Cyclops was the man. Come on now. Get it right. Wolverine, like I said, he can't stand Cyclops' guts, but he respects Cyclops and he trusts Cyclops. So much so that Wolverine gave Cyclops the Muramasa blade. Let me explain to you what the Muramasa blade is. The Muramasa blade can slice through adamantium and it can retard the effects of the healing factor. So Wolverine gave Cyclops the only thing that can effectively kill him. Now later on, Wolverine would use the Muramasa blade to behead Sabretooth. That just goes to show you the kind of respect that Wolverine has for Cyclops. There's also the Proteus storyline, where Aurora Monroe, Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, and Wolverine are affected mentally by Proteus. So to get them back into the game, Cyclops takes on all three of them at once in hand-to-hand combat. You heard me. Cyclops took on all three of them to get them back in the game. And afterwards, Wolverine had that much more respect for Cyclops because it showed Cyclops as a proven leader, and it showed that Cyclops will do everything that's necessary to get his team back on track. So MCU, whoever's going to be directing the X-Men movies, please get it right with Scott Summers, Jean Grey, and Aurora Monroe as the leaders and the heart and soul of the X-Men in the movies. You can have a great supporting actor as Wolverine, but please don't make these movies all about Wolverine. Even in the animated series, of course, they knew how popular Wolverine is. And so every once in a while, Wolverine will go off on his own, as he's known to do. You go out into the North, the Great White North. You fight Alpha Flight. That would be an awesome movie. That would be an awesome movie with Wolverine versus Alpha Flight. I would love to see a live action Alpha Flight. Please. And let's kind of gravitate to my favorite era of the X-Men, the John Byrne, Chris Claremont era. We got Days of Future Past. We got the Dark Phoenix saga. We just got so many great stories. We got the Wendigo on their watch. Come on. Marvel, MCU, make my dreams come true. Rhymes. All right. And again, this video is about the X-Men. I know I started it trying to come across as like a sob story, but no, that's not what we do here. So please tell a friend that likes comic book related materials about The Great Expanse by John Bat 426, a comic book related site. Okay. Again, I would love to talk about Image, Dark Horse, Wildstorm, and any other comic book company out there. But they're just not producing as much material, so I really don't have too much to go on. Even though I understand that Dark Horse Comics produced the Umbrella Academy, and I did watch the first episode, but I got bored with the second one. And Image Comics has produced Invincibles Season 1, and Season 2 is on the way. So when more material becomes available from the other comic book companies, believe me, I will bring them to you. But right now, Marvel and DC is just pumping out information. So I want to keep you guys engaged. I'm not showing favoritism, but I want to keep you guys engaged with the current, up-to-date topics about comic books. And I appreciate you guys for coming back repeatedly and subscribing to the channel so we can grow. The Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can expand because of you and for you. Peace.